Welcome back, everyone. Today is my last day flying. Not my last flight that I'm going to record for you guys, but my last day flying. All right, so Andrew and I, one of our new pilots, is going out. He's going to do observation flight today. He's got about 20 hours to do. He did about 4 hours yesterday on some flights together, and then today is just about 1 hour. Actually, it's only about 40 minutes out there and back. So here's the cargo I'm taking out. I'm taking out some like siding and some roofing stuff, as well as some, I don't know exactly what they're gonna use it for. But I think that this stuff, they're actually like hiking over the mountain, like 4-hour hike to another location. And yeah, that's how they make these tin roof houses in the middle of nowhere. So on this flight, we're going out to Gama, we're dropping this stuff off, and then we're going to be picking up coffee. Now I'm going to film that on the second video, on the return video coming back, but I know so many of you guys would like to try out PNG Coffee, and now is your opportunity. I'm actually going to have a pre-order buy for Goroka Coffee down on my website, down below, but I'm going to have a very, very limited supply available for you guys because basically I'm just bringing some back with me to the States. So the first week in June is when I'm going to be shipping this out, but I'm giving you guys a pre-order because honestly I don't really want to have to carry this stuff around America on my first month of travel, so I'd really like it to sell out so I can get it shipped out the first week in June. So if you're interested, check the link out below because it's going to go fast. So before I fuel up to get out there, it's just a 21-minute flight, but I want to make sure that I can take my minimum amount of fuel so I can get as much coffee for these guys as I can. Checking the Windy app, it looks like low clouds out there. At 7 looks really good. Let's go all the way up to 9, still looking good. Maybe a little bit of broken kind of scattered clouds getting back in here, but overall it looks really nice. The other thing I can check for is just looking at my satellite, what it is right now, and it looks like it's probably pretty clear out there. So that's good news for them. That means I can take out my minimum amount of fuel and get the most amount of coffee. All right, we're fueled and loaded, so I don't think we have anything else to do. Weather's good, let's get going. All right guys, this is Andrew. This is the second day, like I said earlier, of just observation flying, and then one of our other training pilots is going to finish him up when I go on home assignment. So he's just basically observing today and helping out with all the grunt work on unloading and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started, get on to Gama. Over 14, and then I'm going to throw my fuel on. I just stay here with the fuel on, it just starts draining over to the other side pretty quickly. Just watching this first. Once it's up to 35, then I just bring my eyes up to the ITT. As long as the trend's going well and it stops and goes back down, then I come back and make sure, okay, yeah, we're above 52% and everything. Once he disconnects, I'll throw my generator on for V2. Alternator, just watching these things spike. Once he's out of the way, then I'll throw my prop forward just so I'm not blasting him. Alright, there it goes. Alright, our fuel, done. Our cap's good. Our selectors are both on. Our controls are good. Our systems, check, I already did. We're going out today. 9,000 feet. We've already got our VREF of 74 if we had to come back in, and 63 for rotate, and our flight plan into Gama. Our T's and P's are all in the green. Our flaps are set, our trims are set. Both indicated and verified at 20. Goroka Tower, November Tango Kilo, request taxi Gama 2 POV.
Tango Zulu. Correction, November Tango Kilo. Confirm call sign.
November Tango Kilo.
Left taxi 417 left and a bit track and lineup. QNH 1019. Time check 03.
1019, clear to backtrack, line up 17 left, November Tango Kilo. Right, hit the governor speed button here as we're climbing on. Clear left or clear right and left. Just holding the brakes here. Once it gets up to 2070 plus or minus 50, then we let go. And it's climbing up just fine.
Tango Kilo, when ready, left hand, clear for takeoff.
When ready, left hand, turn, clear for takeoff, November Tango Kilo. Alright, we'll be 50 knots by our taxiway, or we'll remain on the runway after takeoff. We'll pitch for 85, we'll consider EPL, consider feather. Those don't work, we'll go cut off, pull off, and shut off. 85 initially, then 80 full flaps. Make a call. Masters and cracker door close to the ground. Okay, the ignition, inlet and lights. Harnesses, high idle, and it's 21 degrees, so it's the same as every morning, 1390 to the torque. So ignition, condition, flaps 20, fuel, and harnesses are good. And we'll rotate 63. Alright, torque is set. Airspeed's alive. ITT is just a little bit below 720, so I'm just going to bring it up to there. There's 50. There's a rotate. We are heavy today. Just gonna slowly bring, like a feather's kind of pull on it, just to bring it back to 740. Now I'm pitching for my 7.5 degrees initially. That gives me 85 knots, or very, very close to that. Eventually you'll just get the muscle memory where you don't even have to look, you just know this feels right.
Alpha Juliet,
Over 300, we can go 10 degrees.
Alpha Juliet, request taxi for Simbai, 2 POB.
And just a slight left turn to connect to our course. Right, 05, so 26. Broken Tower, November Tango Kilo, departed time 05. Tracking 146 on climb, not above 900,000. Estimating game 26.
Kilo, Tango Kilo, contact Mosby, 120.7066215 miles.
1207 or 6622, 15, November Tango Kilo. Alright, 120.7. We'll just fine tune this down to 2,000 RPM and let it sit here for a second, and our ITT might drop off another couple degrees just by pulling the prop back. Alright, well it's only 20 minutes out there, so it's like one of our shortest flights, at least from Goroka. We'll flip our landing light and bypass back to normal, and our igniter's turned off. And I'm actually going to flip this down 10, so it's at 10119. I'm going to go down to 009er. That way when I get up to 9,000, I'm not 300 feet below by the time I give Moresby a call. Yeah, on the way back we'll go by Michael if we can. It's up to 12,000, so I'll just have to look to see how much fuel we have left.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, while we're climbing, now's a good time to go ahead and bring open the strip chart. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this, and I'm just going to leave it at 5 just so I don't have to pay attention to my airspeed. Whereas if I were to go up to like 1,000, then I'd have to be monitoring my airspeed, but this is going to keep it still fine. So, we're going to open the strip chart, make sure it says Gamma first. Elevation's 5370, but I think, here we go, touchdown zone's 5270. There's 100 feet difference just in like, 1,500 feet or whatever. It's 470 meters long. I don't know how many feet that is. But this is 11.8% slope. But in one of our other ones, the max slope says it's 17%. So it's basically, it's like a 5%, no, touchdown zone says 7%,
Okay.
but then it actually goes into a 17%, but then it all averages out at about 12%.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very rough, bumpy runway. We're coming in from this direction here. We'll fly overhead so we can observe the whole thing. we'll come all the way over here, and it's kind of like the hills actually kind of go at an angle, so we'll kind of be just kind of tracking our downwind kind of away from it, and then get out to a ridge. And we just want to be, there's another ridge right here. So we want to be 5,700 feet at that point. Actually, I usually do 5,800 because the touchdown zone's closer to 5,300. Oh, I'm usually 5,800 at that point. Orsby 6622, November Tango Kilo transfer. Bring my torque on back. That's annoying. Bring it back to 1270, and then let it just sit there. Orsby 6622, November Tango Kilo transfer. Now it's just a guessing game, and you just call them on every frequency. Orsby 5565, November Tango Kilo transfer. We want, I'll get set up our 6,300 for pattern altitude now while we're waiting. We're going to do it at like 800 feet because there's some mountains fairly close. Orsby 5565, November Tango Kilo, no Joy 1207 6622. Currently 20 miles to the southeast of Goroka, 9,000, estimating Gama 24.
November Tango Kilo, Air QNH 1007, no reported traffic. Call again, Gama. And I request that check call now on 120.7.
1007, call again, Gama, and we'll do check call 1207 now. November Kilo. Orsby 1207, November Tango Kilo, check call. Orsby 5565, November Tango Kilo, no Joy 1207. This area right here is a dead zone.
November Tango Kilo.
Basically, till you get to those mountains up there is when you start getting them. But from here to Goroka, you just don't really seem to get them ever on that frequency, especially at a lower altitude. But because this is a 7% slope, I'm just going to add 1 knot to my VREV speed. So basically starting at 7% slope and up, I add like, so 7 will add 1, 8 will add 2, 9 will add 3, 10 will add 4, and then basically 11 and up, I'll just add 5, and that's all I'll add probably. Because we really only have like 1 or 2 that are like 13% slope, and 5 seems to work pretty good for that. If you don't do that,
You run out of energy?
You just run out of energy and you just smack the ground really hard. So, yeah, 1 knot's really not that much, but it does help just a tiny bit. So we're gonna look at we're gonna get there in about 10 minutes. So we're gonna be about 50 underneath 6980. So let's just say an even 6900 because we're close enough to that. So we'll do it at 74 knots, which is already what it is. The fuel selectors, and they're still fairly even, good enough. We'll do lights and inlet here in just a minute. We're still 23 miles out, so we're just gonna get as much stuff done as we can so that it just frees up our workload the closer we get so that we can focus on things that matter. All right, so pattern altitude, we're gonna be coming up on our top of descent here in, well, 1 minute, she'll let us know. We're gonna go down to 6,300, so I'm just gonna go to 6,300 now. We're gonna turn final at 5,800, well, be crossing that ridge, about 5,800 turning final. And short final, there's a ridge. We're gonna power up, 20 degrees of flaps, pitch for 12 degrees, immediate left-hand turnout. And reset our ITT, not our torque, ITT, just because we're a little bit higher now, at 740.
Okay.
But when Andrew and I land on the ground, I'm going to talk to the guys out here and see if they might be able to give us a quick little tour of one of their coffee gardens that's close by, just to give you guys a little bit of reference on, for one, what coffee bushes look like, and maybe a little bit about the process of what they do out here to actually get it back into town and make money. I did a video, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, describing how much process it is and how much they actually make on this, and basically I think it was about, I don't even remember, I have to go back and look. There is a video that talks about it, and it was a pretty small amount.
By the time they pay for the flight and everything?
Yeah, by the time they pay for the flight to come out, because we don't fly this stuff for free, we give them a discount, but it still does cost money. It costs us money. All right, let's go bypass, lights on, prop and harness to go. We'll get that in just a second. It's verifying our descent profile is going to work out just fine. I prefer to have it come just a tiny bit before, just because we're going to be, you know, cruising there at 160 knots. So I want to give myself a little bit of space to slow down and get configured for the pattern before I'm actually in it. We can't see it yet because it's behind a ridge. So we'll see it when we're about a mile from it. All stations 1207, November Tango Kilo, 7 miles to the northwest of Gama 8000, circuit time Gama 23. Orsby 5565, November Tango Kilo in the circuit Gama, report after landing.
November Tango Kilo.
Go ahead and start pulling my power out, put a little bit of left rudder pressure in as we're coming down. We'll turn our TAWs off, autopilot off, prop forward. We still can't see the runway. Yeah, just on the other side of this ridge, right? The smoke is like the bottom of the runway. You can barely start seeing the windsock. Now we can start seeing it like a half a mile out. All right, there's 6300. Just gonna come up here and then I'll bank over. Prop and harness is done. We'll do 10 degrees of flaps. All right, looks nice. Nobody's on it. Actually, doesn't look like it's bad as wind. Maybe a little bit of a crosswind, but really not bad at all. Windsock down there also shows maybe 1 or 2 knots from the left. Went 74, 84, and 94. 94 and downwind.
$500.
Go at 20 degrees of flaps now. We're pretty much just to beam the end of the runway. On to 94. And turn base 6,000.
500.
Lots of right rudder pressure for landing. You can see kind of how it is, like you can't really do like quite a square off kind of. So here's the ridge, we want to be at 5,800.
500.
It's going to be a pretty short base, so I'm going to just start slowing down now.
5,800 inbound, correct?
That's right. Go full flaps now. That just helps slow us down because there's not really a base. There's our 5780. On to 74. Actually, no, 57 looks better. Or 5680, so yeah, I'd say 57. All right, 6 knots of headwind. That'll change when we're down there probably.
500.
Okay, 650 on the descent. 76, 2 knots fast. Winds are dropping off a little bit. Follow the descent out a little bit. Bit left or right of center line.
500.
All right, looks good. We'll be committed. low idle real quick and then add power to get back up. I don't think I've ever seen it cut this nice before.
That looks good.
I'm just pushing over on the yoke, just
The nose down.
Just keep the nose down and then always pull in the parking bay this way. Don't try to turn around the other way, and I'll explain in a second why. Right. And I'm going to pull just far enough up because there's a kind of a little bit of a hill behind me to where if we don't pull far enough up, you can't get the tail stand in. And I pull up this way because if you come in this way, it's kind of an ever slight slope down. And if it's muddy out, like you start slipping and it's super uncomfortable.
Okay.
Here, all you have to do is just line up, where if you go in there, then you have to pull way out here and then turn back around, and it just is a little bit harder. So anyway, we're gonna, Andrew and I are gonna unload all this, and then in the next video, we're gonna pick up some coffee, and like I said, we're gonna try to get a quick little tour of a coffee garden. And if you want to try some PNG coffee, like I said at the beginning, check the link down below. I have just like a few bags I'm bringing back to the States for a few guys to try. So let's go ahead and shut down and unload.
Saya